dream as I chat with Eli Kim, a player within the local pro, semi-pro Rocket League scene who's growing in prominence, but whose entry into the scene was not without controversy. We addressed this relatively early on in our conversation, and those who are not familiar with what went down, I wanted to give a little bit of context. He achieved supersonic legend in ones on South African servers. There were a lot of questions about the legitimacy of this, and discussion around it with other prominent players became a little, shall we say, heated. So that's what we're talking about when we address the controversy when we talk. And now, here's Eli Kim. I guess the first question we have to ask is, how do we actually say your name? I've heard variations of it, and with Americans in the casting booth, they had a few cracks at it, but what's the right way to say it?
Oh yeah, I know. That was a lot of fun to watch. People just get my name wrong and right. But yeah, the correct way to say it is Eliakim Zede. Eliakim being my full name, Zede being South Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely had a good laugh at the casters who got it wrong.
Sure. And what is your name? Your IRL name?
Yeah, it's Eliakim Charles Foster.
Okay, so it is Eliakim. That's your actual name.
100%. But my nickname, most people call me Eli.
Eliakim. Okay.
Yeah,
so Eli's
perfect.
good. I'll refer to you as Eli from now on because that's just easy.
Perfect.
And you're based in Cape Town.
Correct. I'm based in Cape Town.
And have you always lived in Cape Town?
So I've lived quite a international life. I lived in South Korea in 2008 for about 8 months.
Okay.
And then I moved back to SA. I then moved over to the Netherlands for 3 years, and then from the Netherlands to South Korea for another 3 years, and now I'm here. So.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so
I definitely moved around.
All right. Well, let's talk about the Rocket League journey. When did that start? How did it start? How do you find yourself where you are?
Awesome. Yeah, I know. Definitely, I would start this Rocket League journey off grabbing that GC SSL on South African servers. There was a lot of controversy around it when I first got it. Seeing as there was a 1v1.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Let's talk about the.
Okay.
So you just how you got into Rocket League, how you. Yeah.
I got into Rocket League in South Korea. It was a game that I was dying to download and play.
And when was that?
That was back in 2016.
Okay, so it's fairly early on.
Early, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
probably earlier 2016.
And were you doing anything competitive with it then, or was it just?
No, it was a side thing for me. I was actually using Rocket League as cross training for my football. I was very athletic in the football varsity for high school, and very competitive about it as well. So it was more of a cross training in a sense, just to help me hit the ball around and help me get that game sense. So that was the initial reason why I downloaded Rocket League and played it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then at what point did you have the thought that you'd like to take it more seriously and be competitive in it?
I definitely wanted to take it serious. I had a picture when I arrived in South Africa of the leaderboards, and I was at the time #1 in South Africa.
Okay.
And I remember walking into a youth session, and I was showing a few kids that I'm quite high ranked in South Africa, and they were all quite impressed.
Yeah.
And from then I was kind of hooked on the idea of being the best, and since then the grind has been there. So.
Okay, and how many hours would you say you've put into the game at this point?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to tell you, seeing as that I'm Xbox, but I would say a good 10K plus.
Oh wow, that's quite something.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say about that. Yeah.
And are you still on Xbox?
Correct. I'm on Series X. It's the new generation console.
Okay.
I had to get it for RLCS. It was a cheaper budget option than a PC. We're looking at like 20-25 grand at least for a PC.
Yes.
So a new gen is just going to help me out so much more than playing on an Xbox One for RLCS. So the Series X has been carrying me through, but hopefully at the end of the year I'll move over to PC.
And well, let's talk about the controversy now, because there was quite a bit of it. And what's what's your thought on that? Your take on it, on how it all went down and what's happening with it?
Yeah, I think to walk into a community and start facing the the most respected member is not a clever move. It did solidify a 1v1. And it didn't. The 1v1 just didn't go in my favor at all. A lot of nerves on the line. I remember not sleeping that night. I remember going through a lot. But yeah, it was a rough time for me in my personal life, and so I was kind of relating that online. And it's never something I want to do. But yeah, over my summarized thought on it is, you got to give respect where respect is due, and the grind only gets harder losing a series like that. The grind only increases if you let that affect you in a negative way and let that take you down as well. So I just let it push me forward, and I'm glad to be at where I am right now from that one.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, let's now talk about the plans going forward and how much. What are your plans now? I mean, you guys, you were in the first regional, the fall split. You were playing with Lost Legion Giants.
Correct.
And then I know there have been some change, or there has been a change. So tell me where that all stands.
So in split one, regional 1, 2, and 3. I was expecting to give it a good go. I was expecting top 4.
Yeah.
And we made top 30, top 16, and top 8. We didn't make top 4, and so I was, not to say unhappy with the result. I was just not impressed, and so looking for a better result and not worrying about RLCS points, not worrying about any of that. So I just wanted a better result. Royalty Esports was on the line for me, so I decided to take the opportunity with the Digital Devils roster. And that was, a very good choice in my opinion, and I'm very happy with it.
And how well? So who's on the roster now? So you've moved over to Royalty,
right?
And who completes the roster?
So currently the roster consists of 4 players. The RLCS roster that we're going to use right now is Zero, Eugen, and myself. Original's finding difficulties making some of the RLCS dates and times, so we're going to run split 2 with Zero, Eugen, and myself.
Okay, fine, got you. And what's what's your desired outcome out of that? Out of the first regional of the split?
Definitely top 4 is there like I'm looking for that top 4 spot. And I think this is definitely the split to get it. I think it's looking good. We're going to increase our scrims a bit and do all those sorts to get that going, but I do think the split is going to be a good one, and top 4 is my goal.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to come back and talk about how you guys are approaching it and what your what the grind looks like. But before we get there, what are your plans sort of longer term with Rocket League over the next 2, 3, 4 years? Have you thought that far with it?
Yes, 100%. Yes. My plan is to just take over the scene entirely once and for all. Properly take over. Pull a. I want to win every tournament. I want to be the best. It's a drive that will sadly not stop for a while. So looking at a long-term plan, I'm looking at in the next 4 years, I want to be the best in South Africa, and consistently, not half-ended. Hopefully go international. I mean, if the options on the table, it's there. So. Yes.
All right, fine. So you're looking at Rocket League is gonna be your job. Like this is gonna be the.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, fantastic.
100%. Like I'm full on this. I think there's only good to come from this. I mean, if us as a region don't make any of the dates, I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But as time goes along, we'll find our nick in the scene, and I think we'll have a big footprint in the scene in the future. So going career mode on this is probably a good choice, and we'll see. We'll find out.
And for you, I mean, obviously there's what you would like, then there's what might be realistic. So
correct.
So let's say taking down a number 1 spot in a regional, or even like an entire split.
Yeah.
What do you think is realistic, getting into a position where you can genuinely threaten that number one spot?
Oh, 100%. That's the goal, is to get that regional finalist.
But in terms of when do you think it's realistic to sort of get to that point?
I would say, I mean, if it's not going to be this first regional, it's definitely going to be the second or third. And if it's not, then it's just we're looking at split 3. But it's up in the air. There's 3 teams right now, in my opinion, that could take it. At any time, Bravado is looking very good. Orlando Pirates is always looking good. So, and Royalty Esports is currently trying to make a footprint in the top 4 scene. So, it's really up to all 3 of us. But obviously, the kings to take down is Orlando Pirates, and that's the goal. So, hopefully, looking at, if not an earlier regional win, definitely a later one.
Okay, got you. And then, so now let's talk about how you're preparing for that. What does the grind for Royalty look like? What is the name of the team Royalty?
The organization that we're under is Royalty Esports, so we're running with the team name Royalty Esports.
Oh, okay, cool. And because it's a new team, does that mean you're having to go through the qualifiers this coming weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
So Digital Devils, we're using the Digital Devils team, and we're changing the name.
Okay.
The Digital Devils team sadly missed registration for Regional 1 and 2.
Okay.
And they managed to play the last regional. And so they got 70 points for that, and that's just not enough to cut main event for this regional. So it's fine with me, and we're okay with it. We're looking at the qualifiers as scrim matches, and just good scrim times to get it. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Okay. So now tell me about how are you guys preparing? How does the grind look? Is there an actual plan of how you get yourselves to a point of getting better? And what does that look like? Take me through that plan.
Cool. We have just gotten our hands on a top 100 EU player, Lazy Bear. He has a lot of following in Europe, and he's quite a well-respected player as well. So he definitely knows what he's doing and knows what he's talking about. And we're excited to work with him in the future. Obviously, his goal is for us to improve on our mechanics. He feels that Bravado's mechanics are fairly good, and to beat them consistently, we need to really improve the mechanics. And the only way to do that is by 1v1s. I mean, you can free play as much as you like to train your mechanics, but 1v1 is definitely a place where you can get the consistency going. So right now it's 1v1s for all of us. Here and there 2v2s, but definitely working on the ones as a player, so that when the time comes, we're all not not mechanical enough, at least, to deal with mechanical players. We're all very warmed up, at least, and can take that 1v1 fairly easy.
And are you scrimming those ones, or are you grinding in ranked?
Oh, yeah. We're scrimming. I'm grinding in ranked currently. So I've gotten back into the 1v1s as I traded I would ever do.
Okay.
But I definitely got into it again. And I'm sitting at almost 1300. So I'm hopefully going to push that now before RLCS. And I know that we're definitely getting team scrims 1v1. So I'll ask Eugen every now and then, or Zero every now and then, for a 1v1 or even an original. So it's good to get those going.
Okay.
But yeah, in game South African server 1v1s and definitely ranked ones.
Okay. And how much time is the coach spending with you?
As of right now, seeing as that there's very few scrims, he's only with us for the scrim dates and with the events that are coming up. So he's fairly present, and I assume obviously in RLCS he's going to be more present.
Yes.
But yeah, I think he's been very very present and very good to us so far. I mean, he swapped in for Zero last night and did a scrim for us. So only good things to come from Lazy Bear, to be honest.
Okay. And how far do you reckon the local scene is to being EU competitive? Sort of like the Middle Eastern teams, the Soundrock, they made a bit of a statement there. How far off that are we, and what do you think it takes for us to get there?
Right. I think we have great players. I think we're all quite split up in teams.
Okay.
I feel our skill as a region is not where it should be.
Okay.
But 100% that's the goal, is to get to a place where it can take EU and NA quite quickly. I think we have a good shot. I think we have learned a lot through this RLCS, all of us.
Okay.
But right now there's only a handful of players that can do it, you know, and that can prove themselves on an EU level. But yeah, it's gonna take a while. I would say definitely a while.
Oh, how many hours a day would you say you're spending on Rocket League right now?
Considering that I sleep, I would say about a good 13 hours
A day?
A good 13 hours a day. Oh yeah, a good 13. I mean, I wouldn't say through like the entire 13 hours I'm playing, but
Sure.
the Rocket League is online for 13 hours a day, guaranteed, every day. And I'll probably play about 3 or 4 consistent hours every day.
And then, and what are you doing the rest of the time? I mean, okay, so you play. Let's say you play, whether it's scrims or ranked or whatever. What's the program outside of the game playing in ranked or
free
scrims?
Play.
Free play.
And yeah, a lot of free play. I mean, I wake up in the morning and I get a bit of music going and free play it out and train the mechanics I feel I'm lacking. As great players say, you can free play as much as you like. It's a certain way to improve, and
Yes.
you've got to free play a certain way to improve. And
Okay.
that's the goal for me every morning. Is just to train those things and make sure that they're all up to date in a good way.
Fair enough. And as a team, how often are you playing together as a team?
Quite frequently. I mean, like I said, right now we're a little bit out of the scrimmage, but we'll get back into it. And we hit one with Bravado the other night. We're having one tonight with Bravado. So yeah, definitely getting the scrims going is key. But playing with each other ranked, it's not of a huge level right now. I think we're all on a solo queue grind, solo 1v1 grind.
Okay, fair enough. And how often are you chatting to the coach?
Oh, fairly, probably every day. I mean.
Oh, okay, fine. So there's regular check-ins and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
Definitely.
So the question I ask everybody: what's your take on the Rule 1? Yes or no in competitive Rocket League?
My take on the Rule 1 is gonna be it's absolute bullshit. I just don't agree with it at all.
Okay.
I'll do it until it looks like my teammate is going to lose the 1v1, then I get right out of the Rule 1. So there's no
Okay.
respect for it. But
Okay.
definitely, I find it a cool little community thing. I think we should definitely do more of those, community law. Everyone sticks by the rules. I like that, but definitely the Rule 1 is kind of stupid, I won't lie.
Okay. All right, fair enough. I do think, and in my opinion, it does seem to be falling away slowly. I mean, you do see it in
Yeah.
competitive, but in RLCS, a number of times I've seen them break out of it. So I do think it's kind of winding down as one of those things.
I agree.
What car are you rocking here? Are you rolling with the Fennec? Is that your main, or is there a preferred car?
So I switch between the Fennec and the Octane.
Okay.
Quite frequently. I mean, I feel that when you're not playing well in the Octane, the Fennec is perfect, and then when you're not playing well in the Fennec, the Octane is just perfect. So it's a good balance.
Okay, cool. And do you think?
But mating for sure.
And do you think you have a good concept of what, like the level of grind it's going to take to sort of get to that international standard of Rocket League?
Oh yeah, the level is very different. I think it is partly due to our scene. There's not huge people in it. There's not a lot of people in it. So for us to improve is mainly free play or high ping EU games orientated.
Yes.
So it's hard to improve on high ping. It really is. And it's a mission. But I think if we can get to a place where RLCS is almost a norm, maybe 2-3 years in, I think we can definitely play at EU level. I think we can definitely show EU and NA what we got going. A lot of people doubted Sandrock. A lot of people doubted OC Ground Zero, and they just pulled up and performed. So I don't see why that shouldn't happen for us.
Yes.
So I have faith in the community and the teams, is what I'm saying. But we're definitely looking in the next few years, yeah.
Yeah, what are the sorts of things that should be happening with Rocket League in South Africa to bring more players into the base and to help the competitive scene grow?
Well, it's definitely one of them is definitely what you're doing right now. It's the content. So I think Rocket Dreamers is such an awesome little series on its own. I'm gonna stay updated on it. You know, it's good to get to know some of the players in the scene, at least the players that are gonna hit the RLCS streams and stuff, and it just creates a little bit of it creates clout, it creates content. So content's definitely one of them. I would say maybe even asking Johnny Boy to pop on a 1v1 again, to get SSA out there, or to get South Africa out there, and more heard is key. But content is definitely a big thing, for sure.
Okay. And competitive wise, I mean, there's certainly been a lot more proper Rocket League competition since the RLCS involvement. We've seen We've seen, I mean, and I'm talking, there's been lots of competition, but all of it was unpaid, which is no good. You need prize pools, you need incentive for people to grind and get really involved. And we've seen more of that. Do you have any thoughts on that sort of thing and the type of competitive activity you'd like to see in the scene?
Definitely. I think smug matches, wager matches, wager content, would be awesome. More tournaments, bigger prize pools, that kind of stuff. We've actually had some decent tournament prize pools as of recent.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more of it, if I'm honest with you. It's just creating more player base. But yeah, definitely bigger prize pools and more tournaments.
All right, cool. And then in your estimation, who are the players to watch for the upcoming on the scene? Like, and I'm looking here for names, not the obvious names. Like, is there anyone that you're like, ooh, this is a person that's gonna threaten things in the months to come?
I'm gonna have to put it on Defunct. He's just, in my opinion, an upcoming prodigy. I'm also gonna have to say Joshua is looking very good.
Fair enough. And then let's talk predictions for the upcoming split, or the regional one, which the qualifiers start this coming weekend, and then the main event coming up. And there, so out of that, who are your top four? Your predicted top four in regional one?
I'm gonna have to say myself in that top four. The Royalty is gonna be in that top four. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the obvious guess. Orlando, BVD, and I think Royalty. I think the ATK would be fourth. I think we can take ATK. I think we can take BVD on a good day. I'm not guaranteeing that we take BVD because they really are great roster. And you can never guarantee that. So I would put me in top four. But yeah, ATK, Bravado, Orlando Pirates, and Royalty Esports top four.
So that means you're predicting the old August, now Apex to fall out of that top four.
Correct.
Ooh, okay, cool. I have no doubt there will be a lot of disagreement to what you've just said, but that is the nature of what we do.
No, I'm glad. I mean, I'm all about improving. So if I'm going to say that, I hope they prove me wrong and perform. That's always going to be great to watch. Other than that, let's get content going. I think we can do so much better on content. There's only a few that are really putting good work into the content, such as yourself, and I really encourage people to do it more. I'm going to get into it as soon as I possibly can. I'm getting a YouTube intro coming along soon, and hopefully I can get similar to Appjack or Scrub Killer or all the pros you would see posting YouTube videos. It's similar to that.
Nice.
So content, I want to see a lot more of that. I think I'll be more invested in that.
Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad we've got to have this chat and to put a face, a voice, and I guess a personality to what has gone before, and having been somewhat peripheral to to all the noise that's happened. I'm glad to see that you're part of the scene, part of the community, part of making something happen. Can I end on a high note? Yeah, yes, I can. I'm going to score a goal.
Nice, good shot. Now I'll give it to you. Good shot.
All right, great. Well, listen, thank you for
this. I appreciate it.
No, an absolute pleasure, and thanks for taking time. And good luck in the qualifiers coming up this weekend, and then obviously in that first regional. I'm going to be looking out to see if you can make it up into top 4, which will be really good to see, and good for the scene.
Awesome. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay, mate.
Awesome. I'll see you on the casting booth.
I hope so.